Hopefully you have joined here, and I believe that many of you have joined Professor Bhuya's lecture, and I believe, you know, you have enjoyed it. I know that there are some concepts which may not be clear to you at this stage, but you can probably correlate some of the things that we have discussed. Okay, so what sir discussed today was more like GPU architecture and memory interfacing, but obviously with an assumption that you people have basic idea about the CPU architecture, which actually we are going to learn in this course. Okay, and I believe that by the end of this course, you will be by the end of this course, you'll be able to correlate that what sir actually explained. Okay, and it's more the part of advanced computer architecture course or HPCA course. So that's why some portions might be, difficult for you as per the lecture, but the concepts remain same there itself. Okay. So today we have some around 40 minutes time. Let's start our discussion on the central processing unit. So is my writing desk visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I told you, we shall start the basic processing unit. So this chapter is basic processing unit, or in a sense you can say that processor. Processor designing. So the high level organization is like this, that we have looked into it. This is the CPU. And this is memory. And we have address and data. This is A for address, D for data. So the program stays in the memory and it comes to the CPU one by one as instructions, and those instructions get executed. Okay. So a typical computing task, it consists of a series of operations which can be specified by a sequence of machine language instructions that constitute a program. And the processor fetches one instruction at a time and performs the operation specified. So what we can write? The processor fetches, or I can write it reads. Fetch and read, they are used interchangeably. So whenever you are reading something from the memory, if it is data, we call it read. If it is an instruction, we call it fetch. So fetch is a special type of read. Fetch is a special type of read. Okay. One instruction at a time. and performs the operation. Now there are several issues with this. If you try to correlate what Professor Bhuya today was talking about, that if you try to fetch these instructions from memory, when you talk about memory, this is basically the DRAM, dynamic RAM, which is our primary memory, So DRAM is outside the CPU. Okay, and this is slow. As he pointed out, it takes maybe hundreds of clock cycles to fetch one instruction from memory to the CPU. Whereas CPU can execute one instruction in one cycle. So instruction issue can be done like this. One instruction is issued to the CPU per cycle. Whereas to bring one instruction from memory to the CPU, it takes hundreds of cycles. That is the reason we have cache memory, L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache. Okay, we will come to those points, why we require cache memory and how it is designed. What is the difference between L1 and L2 and L3 and DRAM? We will see those things in the memory organization part. But probably you can now try to correlate that why memory has a hierarchy. Some memory is very slow. Even if you go to the next level, secondary storage device, it is more slower. It is 1,000 times slower than DRAM. So you don't expect your program to be running from secondary storage device. That will be too slow. So that's why hierarchy of the memory is very important. We need to understand that. But we can, for the timing, we can skip that. Assuming that this memory is fast and it is running with the speed of CPU. That we can assume. For the timing, we assume that this memory is very fast and it is running with the same speed of the CPU. Okay. So what the processor does, the processor fetches or reads one instruction at a time and performs the operation. And these instructions are stored in memory. Machine instruction, assembly instructions, binary coded machine values are stored into the memory. Like load, store. Okay. The second one is the instructions are fetched from successive memory location. Until a branch or jump instruction is encountered. Do you agree with me? Second point. That we fetch the instruction serially, one by one. And these serially means the successive memory locations. They are stored in successive memory location. You have 10 instructions. You will not store them one in here, another one is after 10 locations, another one is after 15 locations, something like that. You will store them successive locations. So to get this instruction or to fetch this instruction, from memory, the processor uses a special register called program counter. Or PC, or sometimes it is also known as instruction pointer or IP. That keeps track the address of the next instruction to be fetched. Is that point clear? The third point, to fetch the instruction from memory, the processor uses a special register called program counter or instruction pointer that keeps track of the address of the next instruction to be fetched. What next? What should be the next step? So you brought the instruction from memory to the program counter. Now, by the definition of this program counter, what it shall do?
Decode the instruction. Or maybe
Increase itself.
Execute.
first decode.
No, read. It's, I mean, once you fetches the instruction, then what the program counter does?
Decodes.
Decodes.
No, program counter is a register. It does not do decode. It's a location only. It is
will
not.
increase itself.
It will increase the value, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that means the program counter gets incremented automatically. So that it points to the next instruction. Now, can someone tell me the RISC 32-bit architecture, whatever we have discussed about, if the program counter value is currently say X, what will be the, after fetching the instruction from X, what will be the value of program counter?
X plus 4.
Yes, yes. So in RISC 32, what it happens? PC becomes PC plus 4. This is automatic. This is automatic. So there is a fixed circuit because we are adding 4. So any constant addition can be done with a fixed circuit. This is automatic. So you just need to design the circuit that will increment the program counter by 4. But come back to this position. The instructions are fetched from successive memory locations. Successive memory location means plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. Until a branch or jump instruction is encountered. It means the increment of the program counter by a value of 4 may not be the final. you may need to update it later stage, depending on the previous instruction. If the previous instruction was a jump instruction, the automatic increment of the program counter by 4 may work or may not work. When it will be, when this PC equals to PC plus 4 will be correct? Can someone tell me? Even in case of jump? Even in case of jump or branch?
Jump can fail.
Yes, right? Someone was saying?
If the jump or branch condition fails.
Yes. So if the jump on branch condition fails. So if the jump on branch condition fails, then we can go ahead with PC equals to PC plus 4. But if the jump on branch condition succeeds, then this value should be updated. Okay. Just hold on. Just remember this, that this PC equals to PC plus 4 is not the final increment. Okay.
Sir, this program counter is always updated.
Always
Like-
updated.
Like, sir, if there is a jump instruction, then we will first increase the program counter, then jump to that location.
No. Say that jump, current instruction is the jump instruction. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So current instruction is the jump instruction. So what is the value of the program counter at that time when you are fetching the jump instruction? The address of the jump instruction.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you have already fetched, the program counter automatically gets incremented by PC equals to PC plus 4.
Okay.
Let me take an example. This will be clear. Just hold on. Let me take an example. Since you have raised this, say my instruction is branch if R1 equals to R5 to location, and this one is my 1000 location, or say let me give a value 2000 location, and next location is 1004. Let's assume this is an example, and the 2000 location is somewhere here. Something is written here. So when program counter is holding the value of 1000, what it means? It brings this instruction into the processor. After it brings, so that's a fetch. The fetch operation brings the whole instruction into the processor, someplace of the processor that we are coming. Where it is bringing, I will come to that point. But once this fetch is completed, that instruction execution is not completed. You have just brought the instruction from memory to the processor. The execution is not completed. Remember, I was talking about different stages: fetch, decode, execute, memory, write back. You have just completed this stage. The same instruction must go through this one, this one, this one, and this one. This is stage 1, this is stage 2, this is stage 3, this is stage 4, this is stage 5. It may have more than 5 stages also. I'm talking about a typical 5-stage RISC processor, but you may have maybe more than 20 stages. So the fetch is the stage where you bring the instruction from memory to the processor to a designated location, and then the program counter gets automatic increment. So after that, PC plus 4, it happens, and it points to this location. Now, when do you know that this branch instruction fails or not? Not S1 stage. You may be knowing it during S2 or S3 depending on where the calculation is done. So once this fetch is over, at the end of the fetch, the program counter automatically gets incremented to PC equals to PC plus 4. However, at a later stage, you may know here maybe, I'm saying maybe the branch condition gets evaluated. And if it is success, that means if R1 equals to R5, what we need? PC will be loaded with 2000. Else PC is PC plus 4. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
So this is timing. You'll have to understand this is time. At time T0, I don't have any information about this instruction. I may get to know about this instruction at later stages. Definitely not here. This is a read operation, fetch operation. But the fixed circuitry, what it does, once the address is given to the memory for fetch, program counter can get incremented automatically within the same cycle because it's no more required. The address is already given to the memory. By the time memory delivers this instruction to the data bus, you can increment the program counter value. But that increment may not be the final increment. This increment, if it is a jump instruction or branch instruction, may need to be discarded. And you need to load the program counter with a new value. Okay. Is that clear?
Sir, in the X part, why it is PC plus 4? Because this thing is done in the execute stage 3 and it is an already PC plus 4 after stage 1 now. So it should be PC only. I mean, wherever it points be 1004.
No, else, that's what I'm saying. Else part is PC equals to PC plus 4. So that this is a logical statement now. So which has already been done. So you accept that part.
Yeah.
It means it's a logical part. Okay. So whatever you have done earlier, that PC equals to PC plus 4 is now accepted. Else accepted. If not accepted, I'll have to do PC equals to 2000. Okay. Now, so that is the first part. I hope that by this explanation you understood that what is program counter. So it's a simple register which stores the address of the next instruction to be fetched. Next instruction to be fetched. And it gets automatic increment through an internal circuitry toward the end of the fetch cycle, and its value gets incremented by 4 because we are dealing with 32-bit architecture. Every memory location is of 4 bytes. Okay, and instructions are located at a distance of 4 bytes. Now, the second part. So the first stage is clear. We fetch these things. After fetching, where you will do? So, continuation with my previous page, what I was writing here, the program counter gets incremented automatically, so that this one. Now, let's assume that that part is somehow handled. What you will do with the value of the program, with the value stored into that address? Okay. So fetch the content of the memory location pointed by PC and put it into a special register called instruction register. Or IR. So in RTN notation, what we can write? IR is equals to, carefully look, double bracket here. Content of PC is a memory location. Content of memory location is a data, is the instruction. That's why there is a double bracket here. Okay. And we have already done PC equals to PC plus 4. So the whole fetch stage can be summarized in these two. You bring the content of, this is a RTN notation. You bring the content of the memory location pointed by the program counter into the instruction register, and you also increment the value of the program counter with a fixed value 4, so that it points to the next instruction. Okay. And then the next step includes all other stages, D, E, M, W. Decode, execute, memory, and write back. So I will just, summarize it in single line, that carry out the operation specified by the instruction in IR. Is that clear? So this is fetch stage. The second one, it includes all other stages. So we need to now open up this part. We have only discussed about the fetch stage, which requires these two, primarily these two operations. And then once the instruction is available in instruction register, we can go ahead with the decode, execute, memory, and write back stages. So fetching an instruction and loading it into the IR is usually referred to as instruction fetch phase or stage. Now, let's assume that the instruction is now in instruction register. So, with few exceptions, what these instructions actually do. Now, what these instructions do, except some, barring some exceptions, a few exceptions, we can actually summarize that what these instructions actually do. Can someone tell me that what these instructions actually do it? What are the different types of operations usually?
Arithmetic, logical.
Input, output.
Right.
Arithmetic.
Input, output, arithmetic, anything else?
Control.
Disk IO.
IO.
Control.
Control means what? You are talking about control, sequence control, jump and other things you are talking about. So let us, formalize these things. Barring few exceptions I'm talking about. What it does, these instructions do, they usually do read the contents of a given memory location and load them into a processor register. This can be one task. Second task can be read data from one or more processor register. Perform arithmetic and logic operation and place the results into processor register and store the data from a processor register into a given memory location. Mainly, these are the four things. Even in IO also, you either read it or write it, either load it or store it. You don't do any other addition operations. The IO devices, they do the operations. You just, as a processor, it only facilitates the transfer of data, nothing else. So they can be actually categorized into read and store or load and store. And some instructions actually read the register values and for doing some calculations, and obviously the calculation. So these are the primary jobs of these instructions, barring a few exceptions like branching, doing some control sequencing and other things. Those are special instructions. But largely in a program, you will find that your instructions are of type this. So here it is example of load. This is move. This is add. This is store. So load, move, add, store. These are the 4 instructions which will probably occupy 80 to 90% of your program code. Maybe different types of movement or addition will be there. Okay, but load, store are common. Add maybe add, subtraction, multiplication, immediate addition, but they are also of type arithmetic logic operations. Now, if I have these tasks along with bringing something from the memory, may I now ask you that what are the major hardware components required inside a processor? See, gradually I told you we are going for designing the processor now. So we must now understand that, okay, my objective is to do these things. Now, what are the major hardware components that are needed inside a processor to facilitate this? May I know? Can someone tell me that what are the components which you think required? So,
Component as in hardware component.
yes, I'm talking about hardware components. I do not want a specific, details of these components, but just they are units. So main hardware components, what do you think that what are the main hardware components that we require to?
Registers first of all.
Okay, somebody suggested registers, so I will give it's not a single register, obviously you need multiple registers, huh? So I'll say that register file.
RAM.
No, RAM is not, I'm talking about inside the processor.
Logic, like adder, those type of circuit. Comparator, adder.
So comparator and adder. So if you combine them together, what it becomes?
ALU.
Arithmetic.
ALU.
Right, arithmetic logic unit. So we need ALU. Good.
Control unit.
Control unit. Very good. So we have control unit.
Data buses.
Yeah, connectivity is there. Data buses are not components. I'll say that I will not assume them as components, but obviously data bus required to connect them. Other than this, you require instruction register. You require
Program counter.
right, program counter. So we can say that instruction address generator. Inside that there will be a special register that is called PC. Anything else? We need another one component which is process. Processor memory interface. You need a special circuitry which will deal with the memory. That's a processor memory interface. So with these 6 components and obviously the data bus and other bus, internal bus, we can start designing our processors. It must be clear in your mind that why these components are logically needed, how to connect them, where to put them. That's the part of the architect. That is what we are going to do it. But obviously you must agree that we require these components at least. We may require some more components, but these are the basic requirements. We need register file to temporarily. So think about these operations. Read the contents of a given memory location and load them into a processor register. For this one, you require processor memory interface as well as the register file. Read data from one or more processor register movement. You need to use this one. Perform arithmetic and logic operations and place the results in processor register. You require this one and this one. Store the data from a processor register into given memory location. So you require this one and this one. And for all these instructions to execute, you require instruction address generator, and to store the instructions you require instruction register, and obviously CPU is the brain. The brain is the control unit which actually generates all the signals. So now we can justify that why these 6 components are needed to design a processor. Okay. So our job is now to make these units connected to each other. And that is what actually we are going to learn it, that how to make these connections so that we can perform these steps. So once you are able to connect them, then probably that becomes your own processor. So I told you that your knowledge on digital electronic circuit is very important. You can understand that all these components are digital circuits. They are digital circuits. So your knowledge on combinational circuit designing as well as sequential circuit designing is very important here. Right?
Sir, first of all, we will design each and every part and then connect them.
We will see. ALU we will not design at this stage. We will design ALU in a separate chapter part because we assume that ALU is a black box. Okay. Probably what we will start with, we'll start with the register file. See that how the register file is organized. Okay. Obviously, I will give you a high level design that how data transfers between one unit to other unit. But register file will be our first thing. And then going into the circuitry to generate instruction address generation part, gradually moving to the designing of the processor memory interface part, then moving into the control unit designing part. And there are approaches of designing control unit. Okay. Finally, once we understand these things, we will go to a separate chapter, that is arithmetic and logic unit, because this is a very simple thing. We need adders, subtractors. We all know probably what we need. We need to combine them together. So that part is easier. Designing arithmetic logic unit is easier rather than designing the control unit. Designing the instruction address generator. Register file will be also easy. If we basically follow certain rules, designing of register file is also easy. That's what we are going to look into the laboratory also. Okay, so I'll stop here. Next class, we will open up register file designing. Any question? Anyone, any question? Okay, good. Then thank you. We'll meet next Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.